Go for it.
Shall I introduce?
I think it's your turn.
Yeah, and it's Halloween.
It's Halloween, and you are horrific, so you should host it.
Shots fired. Hello, darlings. Bunny Galore here, the queen of the cult movies. And welcome to a rather special episode of Bunny and the Beast. It's that time of year. It's Bunny Galore season. It's nearly Halloween, and everything's getting very spooky. In fact, the king of the internal demons is with me right now. It's the Beast. Hello, James.
Hello, Sydney. What's your favourite scary movie?
James Colebrook is my favourite scary movie.
So it's mine too. Mine too.
So it should be everybody's favourite scary movie. I'm speaking.
Oh, wow. You're already
making me laugh. Yes, you are. You are everyone's favourite scary movie.
Well, my life is just so horrific. It should be put on screen, really.
Because because fact is stranger than fiction sometimes. You are indeed stranger than fiction.
I'm Stranger Things on crack.
Yes, you are, darling. So obviously this time of year is very special because I guess my shtick, since about 2011, has been horror movies.
You've never mentioned it.
Well, it's the brand now. I can't escape the thing, really.
The queen of the cult movies.
Cult movies, yeah. That was me in the Café de Paris in 2012 or 13, trying to come up with a line, a strap line, in about 30 seconds before the camera started recording. I was like, I think it was originally the Queen of the Cult movie with no S. And I had to go back and dub the S in it because it didn't sound right. Movie sounded like...
Well, it kind of sounds like you were the expert of just one movie.
One movie.
When you're the expert of many movies.
Yes. Many. And now I didn't think it was going to be. Like Bunny Galore, I made Bunny up in the 90s. I was not expecting 30 years later it to still be a thing. I thought like... Well,
neither was society, babe.
No. And people have been asking me to retire ever since.
That's just you in a Demons in the mirror. Don't say Bunny Galore 3 times in the mirror.
Especially if you're a twink, she will appear behind you.
Oh, especially if you've got blonde hair. No one is safe.
Natural blonde hair. You are safe. I'm crazy, but I'm not insane.
You don't need to be sectioned just yet. But it's the week of Halloween, isn't it?
It is.
And you love... Well, who doesn't love Halloween?
Yeah, it's so strange. I've been thinking about this lately because I was filming last Monday and pumpkins, pumpkin carving, and the crew were doing the pumpkins for the set. And I suddenly had this full-on flashback to like... So I loved Halloween when I was a kid, but, I'm in the 70s and you couldn't... It sounds weird to say it now, but you couldn't get pumpkins. You couldn't get pumpkins in the UK.
I've never carved a pumpkin in my life.
Have you not?
Never. I've never done it. My parents have never been...
topped?
That I have done. Depending successfully, depends who you ask, but it has happened.
Oh, goodness.
God loves a trier.
Yeah.
So does Satan.
Gosh, it's like a great Dane trying to get over a wall, I can imagine. Oh. Anyway, so you couldn't... What was I saying?
You couldn't get pumpkins in the 70s.
70s, yeah. So you used to have to use like a melon or a turnip or something like that.
Okay.
Isn't it strange to think that?
That is weird.
Oh, well, they were very expensive because they were like... I don't think they were imported, but they were like very...
Wasn't there a massive recession in the 70s?
There
was that the 60s?
Was the
comeback from
three-day
the war?
week and it was the unions in the 70s, which is why you get the dismantling of the unions in the 80s.
Oh, how history repeats itself, isn't it? Bloody hell.
No. Welcome. I feel like we're in the mid-80s right now. So, but you couldn't get pumpkins. So I always still get a pumpkin just because I couldn't get one as a kid. Because I think the Americana influences, I think I remember watching maybe the Disney film Ichabod Crane, the Sleepy Hollow movie.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's actually 2 films, Toad of Total and Sleepy Hollow, but they separated them and showed them on TV as like little episodes, half an hour. So I went, pumpkins, it was Halloween. And I was so jealous of Americana Halloween. I still am. To this day, obviously I'm always involved with stuff here in the UK around Halloween, but I really want to do Halloween in like full on Halloween suburbia.
Oh, that would be amazing. Like full on Wisteria Lane.
Yeah, Wisteria Lane.
Or like Halloween Town. Did you see Halloween Town on This was a very like noughties Disney movie.
Halloween Town. No, I don't think it was
Halloween
good.
Town. Yeah, so a family of witches live in the real world, and they go to Halloween Town for Halloween to celebrate their Wiccan life.
Yeah, I want to see that.
And their grandmother is Debbie Reynolds.
Oh, no, I think I do remember that.
And then
yes.
the main girl, who's the main powerful witch, ends up stuck in a pumpkin in the town square.
Right, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that sounds amazing. Halloween Town. Well, there we go.
You just watch it for Debbie Reynolds alone.
Always. I love Debbie Reynolds.
May she rest in peace.
Yes. I've just been listening to another podcast from Jack and Will from Will and Grace, and they just got to the first episode. They're doing an episode per episode of podcast, of episode of Will and Grace, reviewing it. And because I think Jack, the guy who plays Jack, had never seen it when it aired, so it's quite interesting to see their opinions on it.
Yeah.
And I just got to the first Debbie Reynolds episode, and it was oh so cute. She was so wonderful, wasn't she?
Told you so. Told you so. Told you so. Everyone thinks it's cute, darling. Everyone says so.
No panty line, no panties. That is Debbie Reynolds, by the way. It's not Bunny Galore.
No, Bunny Galore is a construction. There's a whole site underneath that get up.
It's like a sofa and kind of it's like the Titanic basically.
And the blood of your firstborn as well.
You.
I'm not your firstborn.
No.
Aiden is.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, do you have a big affinity with Halloween growing up?
No. So when I was growing up, my parents were very like anti like Halloween and anything. They didn't like trick or treating. They didn't do anything like that. We didn't go.
Trick or treating really happens in the UK.
No, it feels weird and feels eggy going around to someone's house and begging.
Begging, yeah.
I'd rather you give me cash instead.
Online,
yes. But we never did anything like that. Obviously, I did a few nights out going and ripping a load of clothes off and up. Halloween is the one night a year a girl can dress like a total slut and nobody can say anything about it.
I'm looking down at what you're wearing right now and feel like if you've watched the video version of this, listeners.
I'm a mouse, duh. And then covering yourself in blood and trying to look as scary as possible.
Yeah.
And I mean, my sister, like, went one year as like Death's Bride or something like that and used my mum's wedding dress, which my mum made herself, like rolled it in the mud, threw blood on it. My mum's hard-earned work into a dressing up box and it's been destroyed.
Well, I suppose at least it gets some use. That's what happens with a lot of those things.
Well, you only wear them once.
Yeah, you only can wear it once.
Unless you're Carrie Bradshaw and you wear it to the Met Ball. That's truly horrific. That's a true horror story. Are you a massive Halloween fan? Like, were you growing up?
Well, I was. Yeah, but it wasn't there in the British culture. It was kind of considering like how pagan like the countryside can be and like the history of that and the influences and the traditions like the Morris dancing and things like that. And we have the Harvest Festival. We obviously don't have Thanksgiving. And I've only had to research that lately because I've just recorded a Thanksgiving special for the first time in my career. And I was going, what's the difference between Thanksgiving meal and Christmas? Apparently not very much
it's
at all.
exactly the same.
It's like the same, yeah. I think Americans might have a different meat dish, insert joke there, as the main course. They would maybe have lamb or they might have
or beef or something like that.
Whatever, yeah, rather than turkey. Is the only thing I could figure out, really. It is a bit more Harvest Festival-y, sort of with like pumpkins, I guess, as well. Pumpkin pie as well.
Oh, yeah.
They always have a pie, I think, at Thanksgiving. Sorry, American friends. I probably should have actually asked this online a bit more, but because it was a bit too quick to do a shout out. But yeah, I'm doing one episode, one special, one for Halloween, one for Thanksgiving that only goes out in America, one for Christmas, and one for New Year's, weirdly.
And this all on Miami Fox?
It's all Miami Fox streaming.
Oh, well, listeners, you heard it here first. Get a subscription to Miami Fox.
Yeah, it will come out, on Thursday, it will come out on Saturday, the first episode.
Nice.
With Zombie 2. And the return of Derek Elwood as the Reverend Horroway, who's a guy he's been my co-host on Movie Nightmares for a long time, and we collaborated on many, many projects.
Ooh.
He's back from outer space.
Oh, he's
as glorious as ever and deliciously.
He's out of prison now, basically.
It's a restraining orders.
The NDA's run out.
Yeah, he's back.
What was the first memorable horror movie that you saw that stuck in your mind?
So there's 2 seasons of. Probably 3 actually. Seasons of films, 2 from BBC 2 and 1 from Channel 4. that kind of created what I do now. You had the Universal movies on BBC Two, which is all the black and white from the 1930s. So the original Dracula, the original Frankenstein, and there's like 7 other movies after Frankenstein sequels. So it's probably the first sequel house of movies you get.
House like HOUSE or HAUS?
But as there's House of it does actually end up with House of Frankenstein actually. So there's as in a series of movies. They showed those because they would show them as double bills every Friday night. It's kind of a double bill tradition. And then they also did the Hammer Horrors, which is all the 60s into early 70s movies, the British ones. If you don't know what Hammer Horror is, it's a British movie house. And then the third season of movies, which what basically made me into what I am now, was called The Worst of Hollywood. This is all in 84. Was all the bad movies of Hollywood, which was so weird to see for the first time.
Yeah,
because if you're not used to bad movies, because you tend to just watch the classics.
Yeah,
Gone with the Wind or Wizard of Oz and Goodbye Mrs. Chips and The Women and stuff. But if you suddenly see bad movies from that period, you go, "What is this strange?" It feels so wrong, but it feels so hilarious at the same time. Especially a lot of 50s stuff had come back in the 80s. Like Marilyn was very big in the 80s, and James Dean was very big in the 80s as icons. So and I was watching these movies, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, The Wild Women of Wongo, The Brain That Wouldn't Die, which are all films I now host or have hosted.
What on earth are you saying? What
I
on
know,
earth?
I know,
Mummy, what's she saying? I don't understand.
Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is literally what it is. It's like people...
Sounds like Futurama.
Kind of is, actually. I think the Christmas episodes of Futurama with Santa Claus is very much Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
My first introduction to horror is not as... varied as that. I remember watching Wrong Turn.
Oh, that's terrifying, that movie.
I watched
it's really scary.
I watched that by myself when I was 10 years old.
Oh my gosh.
And
I was like 35 and I'm still scared of that.
And it literally shit me up.
Yes.
I was petrified. For those that haven't watched Wrong Turn, listeners, it's Elijah Dushku and a load of other people no one really cares about. You just think Faith from Buffy.
Yeah.
They're all on like a road trip in Virginia. Their car gets broken down, and then they proceeded to get hunted and then eaten by the inbred warriors of Virginia or something like that.
Terrifying. Yeah, I found that quite hairy, that one. Really good, in a really good way.
The sequels, no.
No. The sequels are terrible.
Facebook Memories told me today, 15 years ago, I was like, James is, because you know how you write everything in the third person, apparently, when you're writing Facebook statuses.
They kind of made you say it like that, though, isn't it?
Right. Is watching Heroes and now is going to watch Wrong Turn 3. Ooh. And... you don't need to turn that wrong turn third time now.
No, the second. I remember the second one being quite underwhelming. First one I think is brilliant, but in quite a nasty way. There's two. There's another one. There's one in the Australian outback as well around the same time that was really horrific. I think it's kind of going into the edge of the torture porn era with Hostel.
Oh yes,
which I wasn't a great fan of.
I saw Hostel 2 and I didn't see Hostel 1. I don't like gore.
I saw it that way round as well. I think because Hostel 2 is probably on streaming services more than Hostel is.
Hostel 2 is when there's a woman in a bath and there's someone suspended above her and she cuts her with a scythe and bathes in her blood.
I think so. I think it's definitely got the guy from Desperate Housewives, Breeze.
Rex,
isn't it?
It's also got Anne Hathaway's best friend in Princess Diaries.
Just to try and remember who's in which movie.
Yeah.
He's in that. The first one I was avoiding for a long time because I never really approved of the torture porn era because I'd kind of, obviously, I've just been talking about Hammer Horror and Universal movies. I quite like the gothic sort of scares rather than modern day nastiness. But I have to say, watching them, I was like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. It's a bit like Human Centipede. It's not as bad as you expect it's going to be.
Never seen it.
It's kind of not as... I think, obviously, the concept is more infamous than the actual movie. I think the movie is terribly made.
Yeah.
It looks like kind of like they put film in the cameras for Big Brother. It's kind of really quite sedate, boring shots and not very interesting.
It's trying to be sadistic and it's...
It's more concept than it is a production.
See, with horror films, I hate gore. I saw. I was about to say Thor. I'm so gay. I developed a lisp in the last 30 seconds. I don't like Saw. I can't stand it. I'm still traumatized from, I think it's Saw 3, when she gets thrown into a pit of needles to try and find the key.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it makes my skin crawl to this day.
Yes.
But I like to be jumped. I like the thrill of everything.
Scare.
So something like Sinister. Love Sinister, love The Conjuring, love like the Annabelle series.
Yeah.
The extraterrestrial kind of aspect I really like. When you're just doing gore for the sake of gore, it's almost comedic. It's why I've only Adam Hannigan. I'm really he's the first person that introduced me to Scream. I never saw Scream before.
Sorry.
Yeah. I've only seen
you saw Wrong Turn at 10, but you haven't
seen Scream.
Like, obviously it's because of Faith from Buffy, wasn't
yes,
it? It's
exactly. I wasn't fussed about Drew Barrymore at the time.
Yes.
Now I am. But what was I saying? Oh, when I first saw Scream last year, and I've seen the first 5, I've not seen the most recent one, I found it hilarious because I saw Scary Movie first. And
it's hard to take seriously after Scary Movies.
It's really hard to take seriously. And by the 5th one, the director really knows like the format that they're doing. They're going like, open the fridge door, suspenseful music, or nothing, nothing. Close the door, there's nothing.
Yeah, fake.
And it's like, it's like a fake, and then the real thing. And it's perfect the way that they've done that. It's so queer, it's so gay.
Scream 1 is very, very good, but I agree. I had to review it the other day, rewatch it to review it the other day on the Horror Motel podcast, and it was, I'd forgotten how it's been satirized in Scary Movie. It's also satirized in itself in the second and third films of Scream. So it's a bit hard to take the first one
as seriously, an actual horror. Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard to disengage. It's like watching. My friend had watched. This is a bit random. French and Saunders do Baby Jane pastiche.
Oh, okay.
And then he watched Baby Jane, and Baby Jane is an incredible movie, but it's high camp anyway and very arch. But if you've seen a pastiche of it, it's very hard to then to watch the actual film.
I've not seen the original. I've seen Alaska and Alyssa Edwards do it on Drag Race.
You'll be fine then. Yeah, that's kind of a bit like that's a bit one-sided. Alaska's great. I mean, I love Alyssa Edwards, but who's rumoured to be on the Global All Stars as well. I just was reading. So if she's on Global All Stars, I am there.
Absolutely.
But I don't think Joan Crawford in Baby Jane or on the Snatch Game is. I think it's kind of, she's only ever watched perhaps 5 minutes of Faye Dunaway and Mummy Dearest.
Yeah,
she's never seen Joan Crawford.
So you got the cliff notes of it.
Yeah, because Joan Crawford is very different. She's kind of always very. It's kind of like. She's very beautiful. Even she comes more sort of probably more masculine looking as she gets older.
Yes,
there's not the surgeries around then that we have now. But she's brilliant. She's a brilliant counterpoint to Bette Davis, completely going over the top, and she's kind of quite calm and quite sort of. It's Jane.
The series about it is very good as well.
Yes. Yeah, Feud is amazing. That was my favourite book in the 80s. My favourite biography book was The Feud, which is kind of a biography of the pair of them.
What's a book?
So these things you prop your camera up with.
Oh, yes. And then I dance around in front of.
For your OnlyFans.
Literally. I was going to say the thing with Scream 1 and Scary Movie 1, I think an actress like Anna Faris is so underrated at being a fantastic actress because the parallel to her doing Sidney Prescott character, what's the actress called?
Neve Campbell.
Oh, Neve Campbell. Like, she studied her so well because those like the moments where she runs in the locker room or this, like the running thing. Spot on.
Yeah, it's those things you can't see, can you? Really? Obviously, some films it's a shame sometimes. Like if you see a pastiche of Wizard of Oz, it's a shame because the Wizard of Oz is an incredible movie. But therefore it's always better to watch the classics first and then go back. I would watch Baby. I don't know if you'd get it particularly, but I think maybe it's a bit. Maybe in a few years' time you'll get it.
Wait, carry on. Where were you going with that?
No, I think probably
a bit too intelligent, a bit too highbrow.
No, not that. Yeah, no, not that so much. I think you appreciate it more as you get. It's a bit like as a kid. Obviously, I love Wizard of Oz, Judy, and Meet Me St. Louis, Judy. And then as you get older, you prefer older Judy, and Sinatra, and Piaf, and Marlene Dietrich. And it's like you kind of get into those artists, I think you should go through life slightly.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's I don't know what it is, and it's a vibe. Or you're an old soul, and young body, and you're brand new. So
For a few more months.
it's the only explanation that you're a brand new soul.
Hold on, what's my expiration date saying?
About 45 minutes, I think.
So in the next 45 minutes. Even though my family didn't have many horror or Halloween sort of traditions, the one tradition we had is when we ever met my mum's side, we'd always do one thing called weasel hunting, and number 2 was vampire night.
Okay.
So weasel hunting.
Yes, please. Start with that one.
So my uncle Chris is...
oh, hold on a minute. Was it just you and your uncle?
No. We're not playing hide the gerbil.
God. This could be so awkward.
No, it would be my uncle Chris would take us on me and my cousins on a trek round Suffolk.
It's getting worse.
Or wherever we were, explaining the history of the area. He's a massive history buff. He is eccentric.
Right.
Is
that why you love me?
Yes.
Okay.
You're actually quite similar.
What happens?
Delulu.
This is what happens. Yeah.
No, but he did talk through all the history of everything, and then my uncle Giles would run ahead and hide in bushes and make noises out of cracks, or get two. And my cousin Paul says to this day he saw 2 yellow eyes from a bush, which I think is just my uncle Giles with torches, like the things they used to do to really scare us.
Clever.
And then they make.
How old were you then? 23, 24,
27 and a half. I would have been very young. And then another one, then Vampire Night is just my Uncle Giles, my brother, my sister, and my cousins Dave and Paul were basically told to run around the garden at night and hide. It's basically hide and go seek.
Right.
But my Uncle Giles would be the seeker and he'd be a vampire. He can make vampire teeth with his lip. It's really weird.
What he does quite big canine teeth.
No, he basically could bite his bottom lip, and then if you bit it in the center, the 2 sides could then form into fangs. It's really interesting. I'll get him to send a photo so you can see it.
Yes, I can't quite picture. As in, sucks in the lips.
So so then that becomes a point, and then
I see.
Then the other side becomes a point.
Right. Okay.
And we both have to hide in this open field, and he'd chase after us, and basically terrify the hell out of us, and chase us around the garden at night. And if you got caught, he'd ravage your neck and beat you up.
Yeah.
Obviously not very hard.
Yeah. Not in it. We're talking playtime here, not any.
Yes. But one time my cousin Dave was running across. He got his arm caught in my cousin's swing set round the rope, and he had severe burns on his arm.
Ow. Yeah. The fiber rope as
well.
Yeah. It's ooh.
I think after that it was very short lived.
It
got very short lived.
Banned, like British Bulldog.
It was very much bulldogs and Tig and hide and seek. There was one time we did it in Hunstanton in Norfolk, because my parents used to have a property there, and I won it one night because I went to hide on the seafront. And then from then on, they banned the seafront because there were people night fishing there. So my uncle didn't feel comfortable chasing after a child in public.
Can you imagine running trying to find I'm just looking for a child, dressed as an vampire.
Well, that was more like Hocus Pocus. They go,
yeah, amazing. I love that. That's great.
If we were in Hocus Pocus, who would we be?
You would be Sarah Jessica Parker, obviously.
I knew that, so thank you for validating my thought.
Obviously, yes. I would, a Bunny, I guess I would probably be.
Oh, it depends. It depends who our third is, I think.
Yeah, it depends on who the oh gosh, I've forgotten the character.
Kathy Najimy.
Yeah, I forgot the character's name. I think because she doesn't get as much. I don't think her character's as well defined, so I think that's why people forget about that slightly. And it's not because she's amazing.
She's fantastic.
But I think the character's probably not got as much. I think they've given her more to do in the sequel, but I feel like there's something missing there slightly sometimes. So you forget about wanting to be that character because she's brilliant.
I would say, depending who the third would be. So, for example, because we talk about them a lot, Owen Mallon.
Yes.
If we were the Sanderson sisters, I think I'd still be SJ. In every variation of this, I am SJP. Yeah. I'm SJP.
Boy crazy and deluded. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That's the trailer.
And on that note, I say you'd be Catherine and Jimmy, and I think Owen would be Winifred. But you wouldn't want. I don't think you'd let him be Winifred.
Oh no, I don't mind. Yeah, it depends on. I now can't unsee the thought of Owen as Winifred. I was just going to tell the story then.
I put a spell on you.
Yeah, he would be. AC could do that totally.
And James Taylor can be Thackeray Binks.
He could be. Yes, he would be. It's so weird. I wasn't really into Hocus Pocus when it first came out. I kind of, because I'm a huge Bette Midler fan, but because the reviews were so bad, it didn't really get a very big release in the UK. So I kind of had skipped over it until quite a few years later, and then I discovered it. And what was I thinking? Of course, this is brilliant.
Yeah,
but it's not the most perfect movie, but it is to me. But
take it for what it is. I saw it for the first time when I was 23, and then I watch it every year since.
Yeah, exactly.
And like the sequel happened, I'm like, well, it happened.
Kind of forget it happened, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it happened.
Is anything I saw a photograph of Ginger Minge and Kimura from the show on YouTube a couple of days ago, and I went, I forgot that even came out and it happened.
Yeah, because they do like a drag competition of it.
Completely.
And they do like a competition. They're going to them like, no, you're doing it wrong. It's like when Jack meets Cher and he's like, get a life hole.
I think the trouble when you do a very, very late sequel, it's like Maverick and Top Gun. It's like, because Top Gun's been out since '85, you kind of know it not back to front, but you're so aware of that title. You forget that a sequel came out like 30 years later.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it? It's so it's I wish I'd played those games. I'm trying to persuade guys to run around and chase me around and bite my neck. To this
Chase
day.
me. Oh, have I shown you Adam do every horror film chase?
No.
Oh, okay. So listeners, Adam Hannigan, I think it's more on Ryan McGonagall's Instagram, like the professor from that film franchise that we don't know who wrote anymore. We don't know who wrote it. We don't know. We don't know. But it's him in like a Moira Rose wig in an awful jumpsuit going, he calls her Megan. It's her just going, no, getting chased around. And it's basically walking to everything, twerking a little bit, high kicking, splitting, and we're like, no, it's hilarious.
Wow. Okay. I'm looking forward to that.
I'll show you it in a little while. And
looking forward to that.
And then to finish up this week's episode, we went on the world of the socials to find other people's horror stories. So not a lot of them I know. Obviously, someone said It. That's very good.
Yeah, the 85 version with Tim Curry is amazing, and I enjoyed the remake.
Yeah,
the 2-part movie,
and I loved it when we had It in the studio. Ruben K himself, he was fantastic.
Everyone talks to me about that episode.
Because it's fantastic.
It's fantastic, yeah.
It's genius. It should win awards.
Yeah. They're going to get a Blue Peter badge at this rate.
A lot of people like their ex-boyfriend. Fair enough. I feel that. Someone said Black Christmas 1974.
Black Christmas.
Well, I got to be black, but
why is it going to be black? Black Christmas. I'm not sure I know that one.
Neither do I. And then one person was like, you when you shave your chest. And then another person said, you when you wear too many clothes.
Well, that never happens.
Yeah, I know, right? What are clothes?
You wore trousers the other day and I was in shorts, I think, or something like that. It was
very shocking.
It's so hard to know what the weather is every day.
I know.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall.
And then one person gave a lovely in story, their favourite horror story, and they said, I worked with a guy on my show. He played my ex's fiance. His acting was a horror story.
Oh, I wonder who that could be.
I wonder, that actor is probably working with horrific writing and horrific direction, so had to do the best he could in a shit situation.
That show's directed. Sorry, Adam. I thought you just turned up and just wandered on stage and said words at each other.
Yeah, literally, that's what it kind of was. Oh wow, Thank you for having my back there. Well, you haven't said he was wrong, but still.
I didn't say that, did I? Whoopsie.
Whoopsie, you don't know your lines.
I know. Oh, silly me. By the way, this is Adam, who we've just been talking about. I'm just about to see a video of him in a Moira wig, jumping around, running.
Getting murmured. I know, he's never been so physical in his life.
I think he has. I think he has. Dean
Oh,
Street
yeah.
Clinic can prove differently.
Yeah, they know him as 5 loads in a day. From 5 different men.
I think he did tell that story on the podcast, so we're not like telling tales here, are we?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's on there. I'm pretty sure that made the edit.
He also said his mum was a whore, so there's that.
That was quite bracing. It was our first guest, if you're a new listener, he was our first guest.
You don't really need to listen to it. It's all right. You can't really understand what he says. He's Irish. There's a lot of vowels, not a lot of consonants.
Like Owen, it's very, very hard.
Yeah.
Wow.
And on that note, if you were going to be an object in the Beast Castle today, what would you be and why?
Oh, well, obviously, because it's Halloween, I'm going to be a broomstick, so I can fly around the castle.
Oh, okay. I was like, where you could stick in that stick?
You know, that's, I think, apparently where the broomstick thing comes from was... I saw a documentary which completely destroyed the image of witches for me, that they would... The flying thing was the fact they were taking hallucinogenic stuff like mushrooms, but they would use something to get it inside their bodies. So they would use the broomstick as a dildo, basically, and insert it. And that's how they would spread the stuff on the broomstick. And that's why it's riding between their legs.
Oh, my God. Well, listening to our medical horror stories, we know not to stick brooms up ourselves.
No, exactly.
If you've not listened to it, go back because you'll never listen to one again. You'll never do it again.
Yeah. Or fire extinguishers. Oh, God.
Yeah, fire extinguishers. Yes. Oh God, horrifying. And
anyway,
and I think I'm going to be.
Darling? Yes.
I think I'd be a Ouija board.
A Ouija board. So you can contact your career.
And yours too.
But Dan, mine went a long time ago. This is just smoke and mirrors now on. That's what happens when you're an icon. Sorry.
So listeners, hopefully you have a wonderful and spooky Halloween. As Jessica Lang said, the gays munch butts and they celebrate Halloween. And boy, do we do both.
Yes. Hallelujah.
When we can. When we can.
It's a superpower, basically.
And we shall see you all next week.